Have you ever had a day where you just feel down, like something's weighing on you, and you can't quite shake it? Maybe the world feels a little bit darker, or you just don't have the energy to do things you normally love. We all have our ups and downs, and that's a normal part of life. But for some of us, especially as we age, it can be difficult to tell if these feelings are just a temporary sadness or something more serious. This can be especially confusing because the line between temporary sadness and depression isn't always clear. It's something many seniors face, and it's more common than you might think. The good news is that if you're feeling off, you're not alone. You might wonder, how can I tell if I'm just feeling a little sad or if it's something deeper? In today's video, we'll take a closer look at what distinguishes the two, temporary sadness and depression, and how you can recognize the difference. By the end, you'll have a clearer understanding and practical steps to help you feel better. So, let's begin by talking about sadness. We've all been there. Maybe it's because you didn't get to see a grandchild for a while, or you're missing an old friend. Sadness often comes from specific events, and it tends to feel like a heavy cloud that hangs around for a while. But here's the thing, sadness is usually temporary. It might be tough, but after a little time, we start to feel better. You might cry, feel down for a few days, or find it harder to get motivated. But as time passes, those feelings usually fade, and life goes back to normal. This is a key point. Sadness is generally connected to something specific, and when that event passes, your mood often improves. Now, depression, on the other hand, is more persistent. It doesn't just show up after a single event, it lingers in the background, often for weeks, months, or even longer. People with depression might feel like they can't find joy in things they once loved, like playing cards with a friend or gardening. And unlike sadness, depression doesn't just pass on its own. It can feel like a weight on your chest that you can't shake off, no matter how hard you try. This is an important distinction because while sadness can often lift with time, depression needs more attention. The feeling of sadness typically changes once we acknowledge it and give ourselves a little space. You might go for a walk, have a nice chat with a friend, or dive into a hobby you enjoy, and soon enough, you'll feel a little better. With depression, however, even those things might not bring relief. Depression can take a toll on your energy, and no matter what you try, it might feel like the sadness just won't let go. But, of course, not every day is easy. We've all had times when we feel off for longer than we should. And sometimes, those feelings of sadness can lead us to believe it's something more serious. It's hard to know if the sadness is just a temporary dip or if it's developing into something deeper. That's why it's so important to pay attention to the signals your body and mind are sending. What's interesting is that, for many older adults, depression can show up in subtle ways. You might not notice it at first because it doesn't always involve the typical signs we associate with depression, like crying or feeling hopeless. For example, you might start to lose interest in socializing or feel exhausted all the time, even after a full night's sleep. Sometimes, depression can even make you feel physically ill, like headaches or digestive issues, and these symptoms can be mistaken for something else. Understanding the difference between temporary sadness and depression is crucial, especially as we age. Why? Because untreated depression can lead to serious health problems, like trouble sleeping, loss of appetite, or difficulty managing chronic conditions. But here's the good news: depression is treatable. It doesn't have to be something you live with. Recognizing the signs early is key to getting the right help, whether that's through therapy, medication, or even just talking with a trusted friend or family member. Now that we've talked about the basic differences between sadness and depression, let's dive deeper into the symptoms of depression and how they show up in older adults. Sometimes, what we think is just feeling down can actually be a sign that we need more support. So let's explore that next. As we dive deeper into the signs of depression, it's important to remember that they don't always follow a clear or predictable pattern. Depression can show up in many different ways, especially for older adults. You might experience changes in your appetite, either eating too much or not having the desire to eat at all. This can lead to noticeable weight changes, which, over time, can impact your overall health. Maybe you've started losing interest in food, or perhaps meals that you used to look forward to no longer seem enjoyable. These changes aren't just about food, they can affect your energy levels and how you feel physically. Another common symptom of depression is a persistent feeling of fatigue. Even after a full night's rest, you might feel like you have no energy to get out of bed, go for a walk, or do things that used to bring you joy. This isn't the kind of tiredness that can be fixed by simply taking a nap. It's the kind of tiredness that sticks with you, making everyday tasks seem like huge obstacles. You might even start to feel like your body is weighed down, like there's no strength left to do even the smallest things. Depression can also impact your ability to focus or concentrate. You might find yourself forgetting things more often or struggling to keep your mind on a task. This isn't just about memory loss, this is a deeper kind of fog that makes it hard to stay engaged with the world around you. Whether it's watching your favorite TV show or reading a book, you may notice that you can't seem to focus for as long as you used to, or that you just don't have the same level of interest in things that normally captured your attention. In addition to the physical symptoms, depression often brings emotional shifts that can be just as overwhelming. Feelings of guilt, worthlessness, or hopelessness can arise without any obvious reason. You might start questioning your value or feel like you're a burden to those around you. These feelings can be extremely difficult to talk about, especially when you might not recognize them for what they are. You might think, "I'm just getting older," or "this is just a part of life," but those persistent feelings of hopelessness aren't something to ignore. They're your mind and body telling you that you need to take a step back and get the support you deserve. One of the most challenging things about depression in older adults is that it can sometimes be masked by physical health problems. As we age, it's common to have certain health conditions like arthritis, diabetes, or heart disease, and some of these can cause symptoms that overlap with depression. For example, constant pain can make it hard to get out of bed, or a chronic illness might leave you feeling drained. This can make it tricky to tell whether the symptoms you're experiencing are due to a medical condition or if they're signs of something like depression. That's why it's so important to check in with a healthcare provider if you're noticing any changes in your physical or emotional well-being. They can help you determine whether what you're feeling is linked to depression or if there's another explanation that needs attention. On top of that, depression in older adults can sometimes be overlooked or mistaken for normal aging. People might assume that sadness or a lack of energy is just a part of growing older. But here's the key. While some level of change is natural as we age, persistent feelings of sadness, fatigue, or hopelessness are not just a normal part of getting older. These are signals that something deeper might be going on, and you don't have to just push through it on your own. It's important to reach out, whether that's talking to a loved one, seeking help from a counselor, or visiting your doctor for guidance. Now, you might be wondering, how do I know if I'm just feeling a little off, or if it's something more serious? It can be difficult to figure out, especially since depression can come and go in waves, and there are good days and bad days. But one of the biggest clues is whether or not these feelings are lasting for weeks or even months. If you notice that your low mood or lack of energy persists, even with small changes, that could be an indicator that it's more than just a temporary sadness. The key here is time. If it's been several weeks or more, and you're still struggling to find joy or get through daily tasks, it's important to pay attention to that. So, what can you do if you suspect that you're dealing with depression? The first step is to acknowledge that it's okay to feel down, but also that it's okay to seek help. Whether you reach out to a friend, family member, or a healthcare provider, talking about what you're going through is incredibly important. There are options available to you, from counseling and therapy to medications that can help balance out your emotions and energy levels. And remember, there's no shame in asking for help. Depression doesn't make you weak or less capable. It's a condition that can affect anyone, no matter their age. You don't have to handle this alone, and you certainly don't have to wait for it to get better on its own. Taking the first step toward understanding what you're feeling is a huge accomplishment, and it's the start of feeling better. Now that we've explored some of the signs of depression, let's move on to some simple things you can do right now to improve your emotional health. Even if you're not feeling depressed, these habits can help keep you feeling more balanced and positive on a daily basis. So let's take a look at that next. Now that we've discussed the differences between sadness and depression and the signs to look out for, let's talk about some practical steps you can take to improve your emotional well-being, whether you're feeling a little down or trying to prevent those feelings from sticking around. These simple habits can help you feel more positive, boost your energy, and give you the tools to manage your mental health better. First and foremost, one of the most effective ways to lift your mood is through regular physical activity. I know, sometimes it can feel hard to get moving, especially if you're not feeling your best. But the truth is, exercise doesn't have to mean running a marathon or lifting weights at the gym. Simple activities like walking, stretching, or even light yoga can work wonders for your mental health. When you move your body, your brain releases endorphins, those feel-good chemicals that help improve your mood and reduce feelings of sadness or anxiety. It doesn't matter if it's a short walk around your garden or a few gentle stretches while watching TV. The key is consistency. Aim for at least 30 minutes of physical activity most days of the week. And if you're not quite there yet, start small. Even 10 minutes of movement a day can help you feel better over time. Plus, the added bonus of physical activity is that it can improve your sleep, help you feel more energized, and give you that sense of accomplishment after completing something positive. Next up, let's talk about the power of social connection. I know it can sometimes be hard to stay connected, especially if you're not able to see friends and family in person as often as you'd like. But isolation can be a major factor in both sadness and depression. The good news is that there are so many ways to connect with others, even from a distance. Whether it's through phone calls, video chats, or even sending a handwritten letter, reaching out to someone can make a big difference in how you feel. It's not just about chatting to pass the time. Socializing, whether it's with a friend, a family member, or even a group of people who share your interests, can help you feel supported, understood, and less alone. It's also a great way to take your mind off worries or feelings of sadness. And if you're not sure where to start, consider joining a group or club that interests you. Whether it's a book club, a walking group, or a local volunteer organization, engaging in activities with others can help you build relationships and give you something to look forward to. Speaking of looking forward to things, another way to improve your mood is by giving yourself something to look forward to each day. When you're feeling down, it can be hard to find joy in the little things, but having a plan or a goal, even something as simple as a cup of tea in the afternoon or watching a favorite show, can help you regain a sense of purpose. You don't need to plan extravagant events, but having moments of anticipation can create positive energy and encourage you to stay engaged with life. And let's not forget about mindfulness and relaxation. Life can be busy, even when you're not running around like you used to. But stress and anxiety can pile up over time, making feelings of sadness more intense. Taking time to relax your mind can be one of the most beneficial practices for your emotional health. Deep breathing, meditation, or simply sitting quietly and focusing on the present moment can help you feel calmer and more centered. These practices don't take a lot of time but can have a huge impact on reducing stress and preventing negative feelings from spiraling into something more serious. If you're not sure where to start, consider downloading a free meditation app or even just sitting in a quiet room for a few minutes each day. Let your thoughts come and go without judgment, focusing on your breath. With practice, you'll find that it helps you stay more grounded and resilient in the face of stress or difficult emotions. Another thing to keep in mind is your diet. It might not seem like it, but what you eat can have a direct impact on how you feel. For example, foods rich in omega-3 fatty acids, like salmon, walnuts, and flax seeds, have been shown to help support brain health and reduce symptoms of depression. And don't forget about the importance of staying hydrated. Dehydration can make you feel sluggish, tired, or irritable. So, drinking enough water throughout the day is an easy and effective way to support both your physical and emotional health. Last, but certainly not least, sleep plays a huge role in how we feel emotionally. It's easy to overlook the impact that a poor night's sleep can have on our mood. When you don't get enough rest, it can be harder to focus, harder to manage stress, and harder to stay positive. If you've been struggling with sleep, try establishing a bedtime routine. Going to bed at the same time each night, avoiding screens before bed, and creating a calm, dark environment can help you get the restful sleep your body and mind need. A good night's sleep doesn't just make you feel better physically, it can also give you the emotional energy to take on whatever the day brings. Incorporating even a few of these habits into your daily life can help you feel better both mentally and physically. These aren't quick fixes, but over time, small changes can add up and help you manage feelings of sadness or prevent depression from taking root. And remember, if you ever feel like the weight of your emotions is too much to handle on your own, don't hesitate to seek help. Whether it's talking to a loved one, a professional, or a support group, reaching out is a powerful first step toward healing. Now that we've covered some of the habits that can help improve your mental well-being, let's wrap up by focusing on how you can recognize when you might need more help. Depression doesn't have to be something you live with in silence. There are resources, support, and treatments available to you. You deserve to feel good, and with the right help, you absolutely can. Thank you for joining me today, and remember, you are never too old to take care of yourself, mentally and emotionally. Stay connected, keep moving, and always prioritize your well-being. Here's to feeling your best and living life to the fullest.